Hi, my name's Dave. Tonight we're going to show you how to prepare a prime rib for your Christmas dinner. So here I have a prime rib. This one's about 14.5 pounds. It's a 7-bone prime rib. And there's about 4 different grades of prime ribs or beef that you can get. Starting with select, which I wouldn't recommend because there's not enough fat content. And most of the time you'll get choice at your supermarket, which are good. And then there's a little higher grade of choice called Angus. Angus is a little higher grade, and this one I have is a prime rib, which is one of the highest grades. So first things first of all, we want to put a rub on this thing. So we're going to make a rub for this prime rib. So we're going to start with kosher salt, half a cup of kosher salt. And then I always use McCormick Montreal steak seasoning. It has a lot of things in it. It's got a good flavor. We'll put that in there. And about a 1/3 cup of black coarse ground pepper right into that rub. And then we're going to use raw sugar. And this is organic raw cane sugar. There's different names for it. Some of them call it Turbiano sugar. Anyway, a half a cup of that's going to go in there. And then we've got some organic rosemary, fresh, and thyme, both fresh from your supermarket, chopped. Let's put those in there. All right, then we're going to use a teaspoon of cumin. And for the last ingredient, a 1/3 cup of smoked paprika. All right, there's your rub. We're going to mix that up. And then I've took whole garlic cloves and sliced them in half. And we're going to insert these into the back side of that rib. But first we have to remove the bone. So, fairly simple. You want to get you a good boning knife or a small knife. You want to open up your rib. And then you're gonna, as you can see, there's 7 bones on this rib that's attached to this. And you're gonna get in as close as you can to these bones. And we're gonna push out with our fingers. We're gonna separate that bone from the meat. That way you can get your seasonings in here on the back side. But we're going to leave the bone on and tie it back on, and that way it acts as like a rack that you can cook this thing on, and it helps it cook. As you can see, it peels off real easy. Get it down to the end. Like so. And then what we'll do, you get in the front here, get under those bones, stay as close to them as you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the middle bone attached. It'll just be easier to tie it. And once it's cooked, that's just going to fall right off anyway. And there we have it. And then we'll tie that bone back on after we get this thing seasoned. So what I'm going to do now I'm gonna poke some holes in here, and I'm gonna insert garlic into these holes. These are little half cloves. All right, we've got all our garlic now. I've got probably 20 pieces of garlic, half cloves in there. Now it's time to put the rub on. So we're gonna get our pan so the rub doesn't get everywhere. We're gonna lay this in the pan. Flip that rib up. As you can see, our rub is mixed very well now. So don't skimp on the rub. It won't be salty. You want to put a lot on, and you want to rub it in. You want to rub it in good. We'll start on this back side. We're going to flip that rib over. Go along the top. Then we're going to flip this rib over. We're going to get this side real good. As you can see, I'm putting it on good and heavy, and it won't make your rib salty. Rub that in good. Get it into the meat. Okay, should look something like that when you're done. I've got a lot of leftover rub. I can use it on anything beef, tri-tips. So we'll just save that and use it next time. Okay, there's that step. The next thing we're going to do is tie the rib back on. Okay, now we need to tie that rib back on there. So we're going to use some regular butcher string. It's available in your supermarket. We're going to go underneath the rib. We're going to tie this about every 1.5 inches or so. And get your string under the rib. And you can just tie a regular knot, but a simple way is to run it over your finger. Then this way, twist, feed it through, like so. And then you just pull. Pull it tight. Take one more tie, like so. Cut that string off. As you can see, the bone will not come off. Those knots will not come out. Okay, we've got this rib all tied now. So the rib's done, basically. Now it's going to set for a couple of days with this rub on it. And then Christmas morning, we're going to cook it. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can cook these. Whether you do it in your oven, I don't. I always barbecue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my Weber, and I'm going to get some briquettes on there, and I'm going to get them red hot. And I'm going to sear this so it sears all the outside and it'll hold the juice in. So we'll sear it for about 15 minutes, flip it over, get it all seared good, and then I'll have my smoker set at 225 degrees. And I'll put it on there until the internal temperature in the center of this is about 120. Now you can go 125. I wouldn't go beyond that, because once you pull this off, it's going to keep cooking for a while. You want to let it set, and you can let it set out like this, or you can, what I do is I wrap it in tin foil in the pan, wrap it in a towel, and put it in an ice chest, and I'll let it sit in there for an hour, and it'll suck all those juices back into it that came out, and it'll come up, clear up to where it'll be medium well, or medium rare, excuse me. And that's where you want it, because your outside steaks are going to be more done than the inside. So if you get it up to 130 or 135 at the max, that's about where you want the center of that when it's all done after it's set. So one thing I'd recommend is a thermometer that can go in your oven, and you'll put it right in the center of this roast, just so it gets the center of the meat. Try to keep it out of the fat. And when that thermometer hits 120 degrees, 115, 120, it depends how rare you like it, you pull that and let it set. All right, well, that's it. And I hope your prime rib comes out as good as mine, because I know mine will. I do them every year, and I love them, and so does everyone else. So have a Merry Christmas.